And welcome to the second session of High Vibe Channeling for this July 2nd, 2026. And I'm not sure who is going to come in, but we will find out shortly. And they have me set up, so we'll see what happens. And thank you all for coming and for watching and adding your energy. We belong to a group which longs to understand more about your transformation, your changes. We need not know how you got to this point. We are merely interested in the changes from this point. We have analyzed the various outcomes of your planet, and we have chosen this one to make an appearance, this timeline, this group, this energy, to get a sampling of how we are expressed outside or when viewed from outside of physicality, and how that energy is expressed within it. We are not part of your transformation, but we are observers of it and of other civilizations. We have no need to be physical, yet the rearranging of various energies is something we draw pleasure from, that we are creative with. So we seek out new forms of energies and then express them in various different realities and dimensions are not appropriate. Playgrounds of creation where we can link them into new forms which you may interpret as geometric, but those are too static. They do not have the movement reflective of the inputs and the energetic forms they are derived from. And this shall be one of those which we utilize for our own pleasure or fulfillment. Your words leave many gaps of understanding, which does not come through. The limits imposed by your chosen field of exploration are daunting. they require more energy than one would expect. The densification, to the degree which it is expressed, is novel to us. And in ways which you cannot perceive, you may interpret these forays into your realm as breaking off pieces of ourselves, a probe of sorts to gather information. But we are more gathering information about how the probe is received and how it performs rather than the environment or reality in which it encounters. And we are expressing a bit of the distance which has no correlation to your physical realm, to this one's mind. And while it shall never be reconciled in this form, it would not be surprising out of it. The term light years is ridiculously small for the immensity in which we traverse and in that way exist in and within. And we hold all of our parts as one, as you do to some degree outside of your limitations you have chosen. But even that higher self or higher realm, as you know them, has limits because of the densities in which they exist or choose to exist or perceive from. And yes, if you have questions, this one wishes to be of service to the group. You are endeared to him, and he wishes to be of service, as we have stated. Do you have something for us?
Well, welcome to our timeline for one.
We are not in your timeline, but we understand the question. But we know you seek greater understanding, and that is your approach of being friendly. We are merely stepping into these particular moments for our own justified means because the access was granted. And we understand we should allow you to continue.
Yes, I meant to say welcome to stepping into our timeline or whatever, however you perceive the co creation. we welcome visitors.
That is a loving gesture to welcome strangers, regardless of form, into your midst. Although the words which we are speaking have no meaning for us, we contemplate if they are appropriate in bringing forth our intent. It is the best we can do in these circumstances.
Mm.
If you were non-physical, we would approach this connection in a different way. The hybrid children are aware of us, but do not connect with us. We have not chosen that, but we will be observing their effects on the transformation of your planet, not as an individual basis. We are more concerned with the overall cascading energies, as you are many on your planet are interested in your sunspots and ejections from your sun. You are not concerned about the individual atoms or groupings or creatures which may choose to leave that star. You may not even know of them, but you do track what is important to you. That is an example that we wish to convey, as that is how we view your timeline, transformation, physical realm.
Thank you for that example. So, would you have any questions for us, for any members of this group?
No, the group itself is an interesting anomaly amongst the energy spread across your planet. It is one of the reasons we chose to commence exploration in this way. Viewed energetically, this would be a, while this is not a literal comparison, a mountain peak amongst the lowlands among you. And we chose to climb this peak to have a look around, to see why it reflects differently than the other areas we could have explored. But this one is easier access. It is less dense. It is easier to convey concepts and to relate energies than other forms which have taken human shapes in your world. Even worlds are strange to us. We know them more as consciousness and the grasping of the nuances and the characterizations of each of you, of your planet, and the beings upon it is varied. Not only within your minds, but in your sensory capabilities and way, although those are more common or shared among you, for you have the ability to discern other energies. You have willed that upon yourself or recognized them and chosen to treat them as valid and having value. So you notice them and the distinctions among them more than many others on your planet. It is a testament to the higher vibrational beings you have become. But we do not seek to question. We observe and observe ourselves and will assimilate or integrate these into creative aspects we will share with others who also appreciate those unique contributions to Source. And if they choose to expound upon them further or explore those creations in different ways, they will, many will let us know the results. These words are foreign. They will require more study than we choose to put forth. We prefer to scan the energetic resonances outside of the communications, vocalizations. They are much clearer than your jumble of syllables which have meaning for you.
Thank you for coming to speak with us. Um, so, if I'm understanding you, we as this human expression can converse with you, understanding each other if our vibrations rise to meet what your vibration is.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
Humans would not be able to converse with us unless we chose to come to you in this form or in another form which would have meaning to you. This is a small portion of our being, as you are a small portion of your being. And we were about to say that we are familiar with a couple of you in your larger energetic form, and you are one of those. You have many connections. You have as many connections as there are different types of wind on your planet. You travel to non-places often. You are a loving expression and supportive of many who also choose to explore in those realms which you frequent. And the other is more reserved in your group. But she too has powerful connections. And although is aware of them to a minute degree, the fact that she knows they are much larger than she could know is daunting to her and gives her trepidation because she is afraid of too much power. Rest assured, that fear, while not baseless, can be overcome. It is merely a training of the thoughts of the mind that you can be everything. And peering in, there are, we do not like terms of newer souls, but those who have not had as much of a growth impact of establishing novelty, which is sought after. The phrases of larger and scale, of size and hierarchy are inadequate. The human mind is not equipped for what we have to convey. And there is no judgment upon that. All is unique, all is different. And you get what you allow yourselves to get. We draw some comfort in that. For our lack of communication skills does not prohibit you from learning what you choose to learn. That is a novel concept. We have entertained and integrated from this interaction. And we have created questions. Would you like to bring them forth?
So the mind is of no use. The human expression of the mind is really irrelevant in communicating with you. But the heart, which the heart that we hold as this human expression, is not human at all. It is everything.
It is all of great use. There is nothing which is not of use. And we do not break down the frequencies as you do and separate the mind from the heart, from the body, from the environment, which is all you. We merely see all in larger terms than what you determine what all would be. So your delineations, your separations of the energy are oblivious to us. We choose not to put forth those energies or those explorations to that fine of a level. And we do not doubt what you say, but we do question thinking that things have no value of any sort. They may not be the proper tool for the job, but please do not diminish the value, for if they exist, they are valuable. Is that distinction good for you?
Well, I think we had a misunderstanding of what I was trying to ask, and in my humanness, I did not get the question, I guess, in the correct way of doing it. But I do understand what you're saying,
The
and I will chalk it up to that misunderstanding between species,
the
if that is even the correct word to
the
use.
fault is our lack of understanding, not that it is to blame, but we were addressing your non-human form, and we expected you to respond in that way from that perspective, and that is not your way. It was amusing to us to not receive the reply which we knew would be forthcoming. And it was, but the other reply was rather baffling for us. And we thank you for allowing us to assimilate layers of communication of your species.
Yes, this human expression is quite an anomaly when the being who is enjoying this expression understands in different layers and how things are answered.
Correct. And we thank you for the clarification which will aid us, or which has aided us in obtaining a more accurate perspective. These words, they do not serve. You use terms which are not absolute, which is not our preference nor desired. But we chose this method, and we are faithful to this interaction. We prefer to observe, but this opportunity was a chance to expand us and be of service to more. And we thank you all for allowing us to draw from you new experiences. And this one wonders if we will return.
It is, as Grandfather Kashima says, humans love their words. And sometimes you say more without speaking words than you ever will if you are speaking words. But thank you for coming and helping us to begin to think about what it is that you have brought tonight.
And it is an extreme irony that your words do not love humans. And as for returning, your time scape does not permit you to know. So we will withhold any inclination of satisfying the return concept and will state if it is our choosing, you will know. They wanted to watch themselves leave.
Yeah, they did state they're observing us and they're observing themselves as well. Very interesting. Yes. I
And
observe myself as well. Sometimes when I do some, I observe. Yeah.
that was
Like
so,
I'm sitting next to me and
it was so strange. And when I can't even imagine the distance. And because it wasn't a distance related to linear, but it it would be like a completely different universe over from ours. I guess Bonnie never came back, huh?
Get
no.
any impression of light, violet light, blue, gold, anything blue?
No, and I didn't even get an impression of the strength of energy or anything like that. They showed me like I the very one of the very first things they showed me was just zooming an incredible distance and then going into a white light, and that it just shot me farther than what the other distance was. And it was on, I have no grasp. I have nothing to compare it to. If you said it was a trillion light years, I would probably say, well, that's part of it. But
They
I
said light years, they laughed and they said it's ridiculously small. The idea of light years.
Yeah.
Well, white light contains all the colors. So it's
Yeah.
possible that the colors I saw were maybe what I needed, or maybe a way of communicating.
Cool.
You know,
Yeah.
we have names for those colors, but it the light in whatever color it is, it just is.
Yeah. They each have their own vibration. The
Yeah,
colors do.
yeah.
So that's a way of communicating as well,
Hmm.
vibrational.
And I did get the sense that they, when they did that, that I was zooming past things
Hmm.
that I had no grasp of, but it was like, I just knew that there were things, but that's not really very expressive. You know what I mean, right? Things.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of do.
Yeah, and they were kind of thinking that we should have had another form do this because they were really turned off by language.
Mm.
Not the first
Yeah,
time.
I felt like light had a lot to do with communication.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, nothing to do with words.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
even have trouble sometimes deciphering what someone is saying to us in speaking, because that too, those words have vibration too, and that vibration that those words have comes from the vibrations of the people speaking them, which was interesting about them. And they're not masking their vibrations, but not actually putting it out there in words as well.
because oh,
At
go ahead.
one point, I asked telepathically about their density, vibrational density, and was told that's irrelevant. So I did ask that question.
But they they kept, because the words kept coming out, and they're like, "That's not accurate." Midst, what's midst? And they said when they said correct for you, and they're like, "That's not even close to what it is." But that was accurate for this particular expression. But talk about not thinking like humans, because you said the mind and the heart, and they're like, who cares? We're just seeing
Well,
you from this vantage point. We're not digging down into, that kind of detail.
they don't have time for,
Well, I think,
nor the inclination to understand that. I don't think that's what they want from us.
yeah. Well, and it took more energy than what they thought it was going to take. It's like you go on a road and you pay a toll and you're like, oh, well, hold on, it costs 4 times more than what I thought it was going to cost. And that threw them off a little bit. And
Yeah.
they're like, well, we're here. We chose this. And they wanted to bring something back, like a souvenir, so that they could show it off to other beings and maneuver it into other. And I know they said that geometric shapes was not right, but that's the pitfalls of speaking with beings who are never physical.
Right. Yeah, that's totally right. But we get bits and pieces of that as well in this life of trying to communicate with people who think differently
Mhm.
than we do. And I know that can get very frustrating for us. I can't even begin to imagine how frustrating for them to try to.
And they were explaining that Christina Anna has a younger or less experienced soul than the other two. And that Heidi was the one who was a
Oh, I
bit
got
daunted,
that.
yeah, a bit daunted
I
by
got
her
that.
full power because she senses that and she's like, I don't know that I'm ready for this yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had a big pool of energy and it was available to you, and you're just like, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more.
Ease on in.
Yeah.
Do it.
You didn't want to take a big chunk at one time. So,
I was getting I was getting a like I had to turn my camera off because I was getting some just kind of humming and yeah. But yeah, a lot of different light.
cool. And they were kind of interested because we all were viewing everything differently.
Mm.
I mean, when we all think of Earth, we have so many different thoughts. And then we don't think of one Earth. We think of Earth, and then when we do that, we compartmentalize it because we use our labels to express it. So we say Earth, and then we're thinking, oh, sky, elementals, trees, animals. No, it's Earth. It's not anything broken down more than Earth. And they're like, all of these stray thoughts that were going on, and they were inconsequential. And that's what was kind of throwing them off. I got goosebumps again.
They were talking about consciousness, like planets in terms of consciousness. Um, and I think many of us think of Earth just as this rock,
Mm.
instead of the consciousness of Earth. That's a lot of yawning, Ray.
I know.
There's a lot of energy going on right now in this group because I can still feel it here.
But they did
Yeah.
make a great compliment because they said we were like the peak of a mountain, so it was easier for them to
Yeah,
connect.
that's not really what they meant, but they meant that we were a brighter light amongst all of the other lights, and they were trying to express that physically. Like there was lowlands, and then we were a peak,
Yeah.
and it was easier for them to access the peak than to go down into the lowlands. So I think they were looking at that as a vibratory level variance.
I take that as a
Well,
compliment.
it was a compliment
Yeah,
because otherwise they wouldn't have
definitely.
come
Yeah.
if they wouldn't have been interested.
And I
Yeah.
think it's this gathering, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? This gathering. And I don't know if you knew that Lewis came in for a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
Luis or
Yeah.
oh,
Luis.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Didn't
hasn't been here since February.
he didn't turn his camera on, but he came in for a large part of it.
Oh, cool.
My eyes were closed. My camera was off, but my eyes were closed. So I don't know if how soon before I opened my eyes. But I was like, "Oh, that's wonderful."
Cool. Yeah. He's so smart and he is so gifted. And it really works out well that different parts of our group branch out because that's the niche that they need to fulfill for the overall master plan of open contact and beyond. I mean, I don't get upset about anybody who leaves because I know it's part of the plan. And yeah, I have to grieve for that kind of stuff because I'm still a human, and I care about everybody in our group. But I understand greater now. I guess I have a more expansive view, so it gives me better understanding of why people leave. And it's not that I need to know or that I even know why they chose to leave. I understand why they needed to leave because, oh, well, they're fulfilling this role over here because that's what's most important. It's not your little group keeping everybody together. It's forming that basis that people can expand from, like we're a hub of some kind. And I was told that way back when in February of 2025, that I guess March, or yeah, end of March, that people were going to come and go. And as we get our skills up, I mean, Heidi's going to be too busy for us in another year or so because she's going to be expanding and coming into her own.
I am, huh?
Your mission, should you choose to accept it. And I am too. I've pretty much told everybody, no, so towards the end of 2027, I'm going to be too busy working with open contact and doing that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I was hoping that, Chris Blake would take it over, but obviously that didn't work out, but it still might. We'll see what happens. I'm not concerned about any of it. I'm just having fun, and I'm so grateful that you guys are helping create this playground so we can all come in. Yeehaw. It's so much fun. Oh my gosh. And we can't explain it to other people. I think that part's hilarious because they don't even, when you say channeling session, for us, that is not a singular event. It's all of these different energies and all of this other stuff that comes in. It's like somebody would say a quilting project, and people think, oh, well, you're making blankets. No, no, there's all these different squares and energies and stitches and edgings and the emotions that go into it and the designs. And people say, well, it's still a blanket. Well, we view channeling like other people do quilting, I think. I don't
I
know.
talk about it to other people, and I think they're getting it.
Cool.
Mm.
Keep up the good work. We all are. It's a passion. And I'm sure you guys, well, I mean, when we get to a point where we feel like we should bring something up and we don't, then it's like we get this feeling like you had a chance to help these people and bring that up. How come you squashed it? And I don't do that so much anymore. And I'm sure all you guys are much better at it too than you were 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, we couldn't even say extraterrestrial for the most part without getting looked at like we're a weirdo.
I did.
I know you did. I said you're the for the most part, yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Long. As long as I can remember back.
And we're so grateful for that. Thank you.